The Dodgers have absolutely shocked the baseball world, and everybody is now on notice. Hey, this is Mike Nelson of Dodgers Digest. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the almost 14% of the ones that are watching these videos who have already subscribed to the channel. But 85%, well, 86% of you, if you round up, have not yet subscribed to the channel. You know, me and Brad J are bringing you everyday Dodger videos, and we have a goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers before the MLB playoffs kick off for our Dodgers. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's get right into it. Our LA Dodgers are National League West champs. That's right. They have won the division for the 11th time in the last 12 years. That's right. 11 times in the last 12 years, this team has won the division, the National League West. It is absolutely extraordinary, the run this team has had. This is the best run in franchise history by far in terms of divisional championships. You know, for many years, our Dodgers did not make the playoffs on a consistent basis. You older fans definitely know about that. And now we are in the playoffs year after year after year, and we have to commend that. We have to, at least appreciate what we're seeing before our eyes with this team. And once again, they, like Dave Roberts mentioned, the team has had so much adversity, and they're able to get through it. And once again, are able to celebrate, cracking the champagne. Ohtani gets his first divisional championship in his career. And we know Ohtani deserves this. Ohtani deserves to be back. Deserves to be in the playoffs for the first time. And deserves, some sort of, celebration, some sort of recognition when it comes to his performance in a team setting. And that's what's happening this year with the Dodgers. That's exactly what's happening with this team. It is a perfect situation. It's all worked out in terms of, not in terms of the team, working and actually, succeeding, because they've won a division. And like Andrew Freeman said after the game, the goal going into this season was winning the division and getting the first round bye. And that's exactly what this team has done. This team has now accomplished that, winning the division, getting the first round bye. The bye is absolutely huge for this team. You might say, Mike, well, what about the terms of rhythm? The team has struggled in the last few years when they do get the bye. We've seen that in the last couple of years. But yes, they are going to face that, but the problem this year is that they have so many injuries in the pitching rotation that the bye definitely is a good thing. They don't have enough pitching, elite pitching, you would say, to have two series in 1 week. That's what potentially would happen. You have best of three Tuesday through Thursday, then you got to start a new series on Saturday, and the Dodgers just don't have that kind of pitching that you can roll out in that kind of scenario. A best of five is going to be challenging if it goes 5 games. We got to hope that the Dodgers can wrap it up in 3 or 4 games, because going 5 games will definitely be tough. Or as we know, a best of 7 going 7 will be even more difficult. Because think about it. Let's say you go a best of 5 and you go all 5 games. You have to burn Yamamoto and say game 1 and game 1 and game 5 if he is the starter that they're going to use. And then you can't use him in the next series if you win until game 3 or 4, and that's when things start to get complicated. So you have to the Dodgers got to try to go for short series wins if they want to win a World Series championship, because they just don't have enough pitching, elite pitching, I think, in my opinion. Of course, I hopefully am wrong, and the guys step up, and we have elite pitching from everybody. But yeah, tonight was all about the team winning 7-2, a big, massive win to say the least. And, it all kind of jump-started. Today they were losing 2-0. You got to give Will Smith some credit. Hitting that 2-run shot off of Musgrove, that was absolutely massive to kick off that huge rally in the 7th inning. That was absolutely massive. One of the biggest home runs for the Dodgers all season long. All season long. That was one of the biggest moments for the Dodgers all season long, and Will Smith gets the credit there. The Dodgers were really up against it. The first 6 innings were just drag offensively. They were not getting anything off of Joe Musgrove, really solid, hard contact. There just wasn't much there, and the umpires were not on the Dodgers' side tonight. There were some really bad calls going against the Dodgers today. Going back to my argument, we need to have robot umpires, because these guys have made some really bad calls, and the Dodgers were definitely victims of that in today's game, pitching and hitting. So yeah, Dodgers were able to get through that and have a massive 7th inning, and it was all kicked off by Will Smith, hitting that tying home run. Just massive, tying up the game. Ohtani gets the MVP, though. Ohtani once again shows he is just a beast, getting the winning hit. The guy is just so good. 3 for 5 today.
just this guy is just. I mean, I don't know how anybody could say he's not the most valuable player, like I've talked about before on the show. This guy is the most valuable player in the National League, and there's no question about it. I mean, there's even a possibility this guy can get the Triple Crown this weekend if he plays. I mean, if he really gets hot this weekend, he can win the Triple Crown. It would be absolutely historic. He leads the league in home runs. He leads the league in RBIs. And, he doesn't lead the league in the batting average right now. But if he gets hot, has a couple hot games in terms of, getting hits, getting on base at Coors Field this weekend, he could potentially jump a rise and win the batting title and get the Triple Crown, the first guy in 60 years for the Dodgers. So, I personally want to see Ohtani play this weekend. I mean, I want to see him, continue to make history. I know there's a risk to it, but the Dodgers aren't completely out of the woods yet. I mean, aren't they playing for the number one seed? Don't you want the number one seed? In terms, because if you play the Phillies in the first round in the championship series, they're not going to play in the first round. Play the Phillies in the championship round. You want to have home field in that series. I mean, at least I do. I want to have home field against the Phillies. I don't want to go to Philadelphia for Game 7. I want Game 7 here at Dodger Stadium. So I think the Dodgers have some, still something to play for this weekend. They only have a game lead on the Phillies. And, the Phillies want the number one spot. So there is something to play for. Ohtani should be out there. And I don't believe anybody's talking about Ohtani taking these days off. I'm just saying there could be some fans out there that say, well, why would you put Ohtani out there? You already clinched the division. Well, there's still a lot to play for. Got to win the number one spot, the number one seed. And not just win the number one seed in the National League. I'm talking about winning the number one seed in the whole Major League Baseball. The Dodgers could potentially clinch the best record in the National League and American League and set themselves up for a home field in the World Series, which would absolutely be massive. You want to have home field in the World Series. It hasn't worked out for us in the past, but hopefully this time it does, and they can clinch a World Series at Dodger Stadium, which would be absolutely massive. That would be the ultimate dream for so many Dodger fans to see them win here at home. And, we also have to commend Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler, as I look for the slide here, Walker Buehler was absolutely amazing today for the Dodgers. There we go. Walker Buehler. He, ran into some trouble, early in the game that the Padres had some runners on, but he was able to get through that, kept the score at 0. Of course, he gave up just one run. This was Walker Buehler's best game of the season and in the biggest moment possible. We have to commend Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler's been through injuries. He's been through hell this season. Been through so much criticism for myself and many Dodger fans. And for him to come through today is absolutely massive. We have to commend him. He's showing that he could potentially be an elite playoff pitcher, which would be absolutely massive for the Dodgers. It would be absolutely, it would be really important. It would be, like I just said, massive if he could be an elite playoff starter for this team. It would really help out Yamamoto and Flaherty if he could be that number 3 guy. I mean, that would be just great if he could do that. And I'm talking about being a reliable number 3 guy, right? Because he is going to probably get his shot, of course, to start, but is he going to be reliable or not? Tonight he was. So, have to give him that. Great job from Walker Buehler pitching against a really great lineup. Now, everything tonight was going great, but unfortunately, Freddie Freeman gets hurt. Getting hurt at first base, running to first base. And, we got word from Andrew Friedman during the post-game celebration that Andrew Friedman mentioned that Freddie Freeman will not be playing this weekend. He's not going to be playing the 3 games out at Coors Field in Colorado. We saw him in crutches, unfortunately, during the celebration. No official word yet exactly how extensive the injury is, but of course the Dodgers will most likely update that information tomorrow. But yeah, a key thing that Andrew Friedman did say was that he's not worried about the injury. So that's definitely good news. He said he's not worried, which is obviously good news. So we have to be happy about that. And hopefully Freddie Freeman is not seriously injured and he can be ready. Like Andrew Friedman said, he is hopeful that Freddie Freeman is going to be ready for Game 1 of the NLDS, which will be happening Saturday, October 5th, next week. Not this Saturday, but the other Saturday here at Dodger Stadium. Very excited for the playoffs. Here on Dodgers Digest, we're going to be bringing you so much content in the next few weeks. So you got to make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss out. Me and Brad J are going to be bringing you the best content available on the internet. We're the best Dodgers channel out there, so you don't want to miss out. Let's go Dodgers.